Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome back to the JustFlight Avro RJ Professional. Today we're going to fly the RJ100 on a lovely and scenic route from Athens over to Samos, which is one of the most beautiful places to approach in all of Greece. Now, before we start today's video, a quick message from today's sponsor, Say Intentions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on that's capable of not just your standard IFR A to B flight, but also other things like data link, VFR, and even a cabin crew simulation, then look no further than Say Intentions. We'll be using them for all of our ATC and cabin crew in today's video, so if you like what you're about to see, then check them out using the link in the pinned comment or the video description below. And with that, let's get straight into this. So today we are flying the RJ100, and this one has seen a brand new update since we have flown it for the last time. And I really can't wait to fly this one again. It used to be one of my favorite aircraft during my childhood, and it most definitely still is. The Jumbolino just looks amazing, and honestly, flying on 5 APUs is just an awesome feeling. Especially because there is so much that you've got to take into consideration, but if you mess up, there's always the ATC lever in the back over here, which just really gets you down, if you absolutely need to. But okay. Let's keep it at that in terms of joking about our aircraft, and let's rather get into the flight deck and get our airplane all set up for today's service. So we are going to do a real-world flight over here, which is the Aegean Flight 242 from Athens over to Samos. Now let's take a seat on the captain seat over here and let's get our airplane set up. So a couple of basics that we've got to do down here is starting with the weather radar, ensuring that it's set to standby, tilt all the way up. Then the transponder is set to standby up here. The air brakes are in, flaps are up, our engines are all in the fuel off position. Then moving up to the overhead panel, we can turn on the batteries, number 1 and 2. And then just review the voltages over there, which are looking just about fine. We need a minimum of 23 volts. The parking brake is set down here, parking on the yellow system, and then we gotta go ahead and establish our power. So let's move to the test switches up here and do the APU fire test, which is looking good. And then we also do the APU overspeed test, and that is also looking good. Alright then, let's go ahead and start up our APU. We'll also get one of the fuel pumps running for that, so that we can get some power applied to the airplane. Alright, while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and grab our flight plan right from SimBrief over here. So this is what our plan looks like. Departing Athens at 0640, and that means we'll arrive on time over in Samos. We are not critical with any of our weights, cruising in flight level 170 today, and then going down a little bit into the weather section. We can see that Athens is clear skies, 24 degrees, beautiful weather, and the same goes for our destination in Samos. Northerly winds, 14 knots over the mountains, so that might make it a little bit interesting during our approach. Clear skies, and again 24 degrees. Couple of alternates. Courses are primary one, and that one's got absolutely beautiful weather. Thessaloniki is fine as well, and Rhodes Diagoras is as well. So with all of that in mind, we gotta make a decision on the fuel amount that we want to take, and since I haven't flown the RJs in a while, let's just load 15 minutes extra, which is about 500 kilos-ish. So overall we're looking at 3.8 plus taxi, so 4,000, so let's make that 4,500 kilograms. So let's go down to the airport, tap import that, and we are going to change those weights slightly. So fuel 4,500 like this, enter. That's looking good, all the rest is looking good, and then we can do an instant refueling over here. 4,500 kilos loaded, and for the boarding we are also gonna go for instant over here via stairs like this. And now that everything is
complete.
Thank you very much. Now that everything is loaded, let's go ahead and get GSX to start our procedures here. So we'll start with the catering services, and you're absolutely gonna stay open down there, please. Here we go, like this. And then we can open the service doors as well for our catering services. Now our APU is available, so let's turn the APU generator on. We'll also turn on the APU bleed and the 2 packs.
Okay. Meters.
Alright, beautiful. So with that done, let's start up here and turn on all the avionic master switches. We'll also ensure that the lift spoilers are turned on, auto spoilers are armed, anti-skid is also coming on, brake fans are off, and ignition will be system A today, since it's an even day when I'm recording this. Now, from here, let's go down to the elect panel, make sure that the APU is selected, and everything's looking good on the APU down here. Okay. So that's the first couple of things we had to do over here. Now let's ensure our master caution panel is up live and tested. That's looking good. Now I am going to silence it again. So the HRS is also coming on, EFIS Master 1 and 2. And then we've got the ADRs over here, which is going into nav. Like this. Alright, great. So from here we can move straight into our FMS setup. Catering is well on the way. So down to the FMC, we've got an Avro RJ100 with the LF507 engine. The nav database is up to date at the time of the recording. So for the position in it, we can use our well, we cannot use our GPS, but what we can do is, let's see which gate this is. Don't have that up here. Okay, then we look back here. It's Bravo 36, I believe. So, gate Bravo 36. Let's see if they got that in the database. No, of course they do not. Well, in that case, we are just going to use the last position over here. That's going to be fine. So, for our route, we are departing Lima Golf Alpha Victor. And our destination is going to be Lima Golf Sierra Mike. Flight number Alpha Echo Echo 242. Now, let's go. Departing Athens 3 right, and we've got departure towards Keanu, which is the Keanu to Juliet departure. Then let's go down into the route and quickly enter the rest of our flight plan, which is going to be... So, Lima 90905 towards Ripley. Here we go, and then we continue via Romeo 32 towards Icaro. And thereafter it'll be Golf 18 to 1L. Like that. Alright, now for the arrival, runway 09 is in use at the moment. We will select the VOR approach over here and the O'Neill to Charlie arrival and the Deluxe transition. So route, activate and execute. And before we continue with the rest, let's just check. Our catering still in progress, but they should be done fairly soon over here. And once they are... Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to request boarding now already, because it will take a while until the buses are here, so request boarding. Great, they're done on the aft side already, and done on the forward side as well now. Beautiful. So, you get out the stairs, please. Otherwise it'll be hard to board. Okay, and back into the FMS. So, performance in it. Reserves, let's see. So we got 1.9. So 1.9, zero fuel weight is unknown at the time. Since we don't have a load sheet yet, cruising in 17,000 feet. Average wind 022 at 17. Like that. So OAT up there is +8. Actually, wait a moment, we gotta look up here. 355 at 20 for the wind. I was on the alternate route, that was my mistake. So 355 at 20, temperature -4. And transition altitude down here in Athens will come from the charts, which we've got over here. Airport charts, departure, sit. Then we're looking for the KR2 Juliet. Scream if you see it. Here it is. So, KR2 Juliet, transition altitude is 9,000 over here. And here we go. Execute. So, for our VNAV system, 280.66, that may be a little bit quick, but I am going to keep it for the time being, since we've got a pretty low cruise level. Maximum 350, not a problem, 280 knots, the descent is looking good as well, so we are going to keep everything as it is over here. Now for the fix page, Athens and a 25-mile ring. Okay, beautiful, that's all we need in here. So let's see, refueling is completed, so emergency lights armed, fasten seatbelts on, and up here cabin emergency lights armed as well, that way we are legal to board. And the first couple of guests are here already, beautiful. Okay, then let's do the entire flight deck inspection. Up here everything is set, let's go ahead and test the AC pump. Here we go, PTU. Also works, then we can turn that stuff off again. DC pump. No? Okay. Alright, down here everything's set. Up here electricals are set, looking good. APU is running and will stay running. Engine anti-ice is going to be on for engine startup. So, ice detectors are coming on. Bleed stay off, APU bleed on, pack set, and then we get up to the air conditioning, where we can turn the fans on, nav lights on, and the rest is set. No smoking signs going into the on position, and they'll remain there throughout the flight today. Beautiful, so that's everything set up here. Then let's go down to the radios. And for those, we'll initially climb on the radio 046 from Sierra Alpha Tango. So 046 and Sierra Alpha Tango is 109.6. And that's going active, and we'll switch it on. Alright, thereafter 084 inbound to Kilo Romeo Oscar. So 084 and frequency 12.2. We'll pre-select that over here and we'll set it active over here. So 12.2, and you... do we need anything else? Yeah, KR 15.0. Which we can set over here as well. Beautiful. Okay, initial climb seems to be by ATC, MSA 3.5 up to 7,000 on the extended center line. Hills up to 4.6, that is copied. Okay, so runway heading 033 seems to be about right, so that's all looking good. Standby is aligned, everything looking good over here. And going down, we do want the data, and we also want the airports. Like this. Alright, excellent. Now for our frequencies, let's see, airport chart. Up here, delivery is gonna be on 1868. Active and ground, probably, well, what's that gonna be? East ground, 121.905. Let's just tune that and see if they're gonna give us anything different. So 121.905 and then 121.5 for COM2. like that. And finally also need an ATHENS, which is 136125. Like that. Perfect. So transponder set to number 1. We'll select the TCAS onto above. Squawk 2000. Range, well, 6 is gonna do for the takeoff. The rest over here is checked, and with that our system inspection is basically completed. So let's go ahead and check our route display. So format is gonna be plan. Still a line in here, is it? Yes, it is. Why does it read nav off though? Is something wrong with the alignment? Or do we need to switch that on anywhere? No, all the masters are on. That should be fine. Let's just give it another while. Oh, here we go. Talk about the devil. Here I am. Alright, cool. So, with all of that stuff now done and pinned, let's go ahead and cross-check the SID. So, we climb straight ahead to runway track, then 046 until 1100, which is basically this. Thereafter 048, maximum 210 knots, amount to 14 DME, which got to be the November point over here. Looks about right, below 4000. And then a right-hand turn, inbound to Kilo Echo Alpha. And that's below 6000. And thereafter, 124 outbound. No, actually, KR is already the end of the SID. So 4000 is the initial climb. Here we go, 4000 set. You can have the lax page over here. I'll keep the init. Okay, and that's our setup completed and cross-checked. Wonderful, then let's go ahead and listen to the ATHENS and see what our QNH is, and thereafter we can go ahead and call for IFR clearance. So let's see, I want to listen to both of those.
D. Traffic services requested. Read all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Papa.
So ATHENS Papa.
Athens Eleftherios Venizelos International Airport. Information Papa. 0820 Zulu. Arriving runway 3 left. Departing runway 3 right. Wind 03 by the 23. Cab OK. Temperature 24. Dew point 8. QNH 1023. Transition level 100. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Papa.
Alright, great. So ATHENS Papa is on board. The QNH 1023 is set. Well, then let's go ahead and call for IFR clearance. Venizelos delivery, Aegean 242, information Papa, request IFR clearance to SAMOS.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
21. Over.
Aegean 242. Information Papa is current. Clear to SAMOS via the KA2 Juliet departure runway 3 right. Initial climb to 4000. Departure on 121.4 squawk, 5431.
Aegean 242, clear to SAMOS, KA2 Juliet, departure runway 3 right, climb altitude 4000, departure 121.4 squawk 5431. So, runway 3 right, KA2 Juliet, altitude 4000.
Read back correct. Contact ground on 121.755 when ready.
121.755 when ready. The GN242. Alright, and that's active. So 121.4 will be the departure frequency and 5431 in the squawk machine. Cool. So we'll just tune the departure frequency 1214 over here. Looking beautiful. Alright, cool. So with that our set is confirmed, then let's go for our briefing, please. We're departing from Athens, runway 3 right, KA2 Juliet departure, initial 4000, MSA 7000 straight ahead, but then 3000 towards the south. And extra fuel and time, we've got 15 minutes in the form of 500 kilograms. Beautiful, thank you for this. Now we are going to have no hotspots for our taxi routing, stop margin will be plenty for our takeoff, and the engine outset is to follow the standard instrument departure. And then enter the holding over at KR, altitude 4000 with an MSA of 3.5. Now, we've got nothing special or non-standard for our departure, however I am going to fly the initial part of the SID based on the raw data, since we do have... here we go, based on the raw data, since we do initially not have very good guidance by our FNS. I don't see any threats for today's departure except for the terrain, so we can mitigate against that by giving you the terrain display. Does this airplane actually have a terrain display? I think it does, but I can't find the button, so that's fine. And we'll do without. Where is it, down here? Here it is, terrain display on. Okay, beautiful. And that's our briefing completed. So then, let's do the cockpit preparation and crew at station checklist down to the line, please. Circuit breakers checked in, radar off, electrics on APU, panels and pedals checked, oxygen, valve and pressure is checked. Cockpit preparation completed, crew at station checklist. Pins and covers on board, aircraft logs checked, parking brake set, fuel quantity and flow meters. That's 4,500 kilos, and we'll reset the flow meters now. Here we go. Altimeters. QNH 1023 reading 300. Set left, set right. Pressurization is checked, IRS checked, FMS checked, flight guidance checked, crew station checklist complete down to the line. Alright, so our boarding should be completed by now, and indeed it is, so prepare for pushback and departure, please. And then let's just quickly go to the back and grab those stairs. Okay, so let's close that door.
Cabin crew, arm doors and cross-check.
Here we go. Lovely. So, come on, I want to close this door as well, please. We're unlocked. Here we go. And we kind of locked ourselves out. That's fine. I will survive going through the door. Okay, and lock. Good. Alright, beautiful. So, by now we should have our performance figures, so let's go ahead and do some calculations. So, aircraft, zero fuel weight, 35.7. And that gives me gross weight of 40.2, that's good enough for me, execute. And then for our thrust rating, we are going to go with a reduced thrust. So, assumed temperature will be 40 degrees, V1 for 141 tons, flaps 18, 134. Okay, and V cross is 184. Actually, is it? No, it's 134 as well. Just gotta remember the flap retraction sequence in here. So 134, 134, and then VFTO 184 over here, and V2 138. Here we go, is set. Beautiful, so that's our performance completed. And that's looking good so far. Schedule off block in 4 minutes, so we're running pretty fine. Then flight director's coming on, LNAV is selected, and that's it. Alright, beautiful. So let's say hello to our passengers and then we can go. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel in the name of a G, and welcome aboard our Avro RJ100 on today's flight to Samos. The flight time is going to be about 40 minutes, expecting a smooth flight in 17,000 feet or about 5,000 meters of altitude. For the time being, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. And for the time being, just make yourself comfortable, and we'll get back to you with the latest weather when we start the approach to our destination airport. Thank you for your attention, and again, welcome aboard. Okay, so complete the cruise station checklist, please. Takeoff data checked, trims. Let's see, are set and takeoff briefing performed, cruise station checklist complete. So then let's go ahead and call for pushback.
Cabin crew, all doors in flight and cross-check. Welcome aboard at GN.
Athens ground to GN242, request pushback and startup.
This flight is Emmanuel, and our first officer is Stephanie. Joining me in the cabin are my wonderful colleagues Alex, Maria, Nikos, and Eleni.
GN242, pushback and startup approved, face
We'll
south.
be flying to Samos.
Pushback and startup approved, facing southeast to GN242.
Minutes. Now I would like to take a moment to go over some important safety information. First, please ensure that your seatbelts are
Okay,
fastened.
so before engine start checklist, fasten seatbelts on, packs and APU air,
To release it, simply lift the buckle.
off.
In the unlikely event of a loss of cabin
Okay,
pressure,
beacon light
oxygen
on,
masks
fuel
will
panel
be
set,
down.
doors, windows closed, slides armed, and TCAS is on. Before start, checklist complete. So, ground flight, clear to push, facing right, and the parking brake is now released.
We also have life vests located under
Roger,
your
start and pushback, and you are clear to start the engines at your discretion.
To inflate, pull
Thanks,
the
starting
red
engines
tabs.
1, 2, 3, 4 in that sequence,
You can
and
also
beginning with
flip
engine
when
number
going
1
into the
now.
tube. In the event of an evacuation, please leave your luggage on board and proceed to the nearest exit.
And surprise, even though the
Emergency
checklist
exits
says
and
APU
fast
air
parts
off,
are
I think
located
it's
at the
gotta be
front and
on.
rear of the cabin, as well as over the wings. Please take a moment to locate your nearest exit, which may be behind you.
Okay, so engine
Thank you
start
for your
power is actually
attention,
norm,
and we hope you have a
and
pleasant flight.
starting number 1.
Captain, the cabin is ready for
And 2.
departure.
10%. Fuel on. Alright, so we do have oil pressure and 1 EGT, that's all looking splendid. Alright. Good starting engine 1, starting engine 2. Clear 2. So, N2. 10%. Okay, pushback complete, set brakes. Parking brake set. So, oil pressure, EGT, and 1 looking splendid. And the starter is out, starting number 3. And 2.
Ground engine 3 Mike Kilo, taxi to the ramp.
10%.
GN3 Mike Kilo, taxi to parking, cross runway 03 left, then Alpha Zulu Hotel Golf.
And 1.
Taxi to parking, cross runway 03 left, then Alpha
Oil
Zulu
pressure.
Hotel Golf at GN3 Mike Kilo.
Alright, and engine 4 starts. So we've got N2, 10%. N1, oil pressure, fantastic. Okay then ground, we've got full good engine starts, you clear to disconnect, show me the pin on the left side please and have a wonderful day, bye bye. There he's running already, wouldn't want to wait, that's fine. Alrighty, so that's forward starts. Okay, so far so good. The APU is going to stay online in this
Cabin
airplane.
is secured for departure.
Thanks.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
Nope, that was too early. Alright, I think we can leave the APU generator on like that. Okay, so ice protection is going to stay on for the takeoff, that's all good. Alright, cool. So let's do the after engine start checklist. Generators online, brake fans are on auto. So hydraulics. Hydraulics on an auto, ice protection off, air conditioning on, auto throttle. There we go. Is armed, flaps. I don't know, I did forget quite a bit of stuff. That's why we do the checklist. So, flaps 18 selected. Flight control checks are coming now. Full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. So, flight controls checked, clear signal received, and that's the after engine start checklist complete. A GN242 request taxi.
Aegean 242, runway 3 right, taxi via Juliet, Delta 7, Delta, Delta 2.
Taxi runway 3 right, via Juliet, Delta 7, Delta, Delta 2, Aegean 242. Okay, so Juliet, that's more, okay, that's Delta 7, Delta, Delta 2. Okay, we can do that. So, taxi internal flights, clear left side, clear right side, park and brake released. Let's go. Brake track, brakes okay. So far, so on time. So left side is clear, right side is clear. So that's Delta 7 over here. Then we do a right-hand turn.
Ryanair 106 Victor, runway 3 right taxi via Corange, Kilo, Delta 8, Delta, Delta 2.
Via Corange.
Runway 3 right taxi via
I
Corange,
have a
Kilo,
feeling
Delta
it's
8, Delta,
meant to
Delta
be
2,
Kilo
Ryanair
Orange,
106 Victor.
and not Corange. But sometimes AI is just funny, isn't it?
Aegean 9er with T cleared for push and start.
Push and Start approved.
Alright, so to review our takeoff briefing, it's going to be a left seat takeoff, runway 3 right, flaps 18, noise abatement procedure number 2, takeoff speeds 134, 134, 138, flap retraction at 186, and then we have an initial speed restriction at 210. We go straight ahead, intercept the 046 outbound from... what's the thing called again? 046 outbound from Sierra Alpha Tango until 1100, then 084 inbound to the other VOR, and that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions or suggestions on that? No? Lovely. So that's our departure briefing completed. Then let's quickly go down here and make sure that VOR is actually selected, so that we get the correct data for our departure. Alright, and then taxi checklist. ATC clearance verified,
runway 3 right taxi via Echo,
rechecked,
Charlie,
flaps
Delta 2.
checked. So, takeoff briefing completed, config.
Delta 2 ATN 9 whiskey.
Checked. Alright, master warning system checked, cabin secured, taxi checklist complete. Note that there is no before takeoff checklist here. So the taxi checklist is the last one we do until we're actually in the air. Okay,
Aegean 242, contact tower on 118.625. Have a good morning.
118.625, Aegean 242. Good morning, Aegean 242, ready for departure at Delta 2. Okay, 3 right, Delta 2.
Venizelos Tower, runway 03 right. Wind 030 at 23, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 03 right, clear for takeoff, Aegean 242. Okay, transponder.
Approaching
Strobes.
03 right.
Landing lights, and ready for departure. And, though not as important today, the weather radar. Tilt about 5 is good. Okay, so clear on the approach and clear on the left.
On runway 03 right.
Takeoff.
Airspeed alive. Check thrust. Thrust set.
Aegean 283, contact ground on 121.755. Ground Aegean 283.
80 knots.
Check. So, V1 rotate.
Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear
0
up.
selected.
Venizelos Tower, aircraft 1 Golf Kilo, established on the ELS Zulu runway 03
Gear
left.
up. Lights out.
Man, the wind is gusty. So, intercepting the radial outbound Sierra Alpha Tango. Until 1100, please. And here we go.
Aegean 242, contact departure on 121.4.
121.4,
1000.
Yeah, wherever you think to say that. We are climbing. It's meant to be inhibited. Okay, so we're 1000 AGL. Let's set climb thrust. And that's normal climb, of course. So buck up and level change. And buck up is of course meant to be buck 210, like this. Looks like the wind is pretty strong from the left here. Let's turn a little bit more to the left to intercept the radial a bit earlier. I think this is looking quite good now. Okay, so let's call departure. Athens departure at GN242, passing 2,200, climbing 4,000. Okay, flight 0.
Aegean 242, Venezuela's departure identified. Climb 8,000 direct D264 November.
Climbing 8,000 on the SIS, Aegean 242.
Identified. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, thank you. Okay, so we're past the initial turn. That means we can accelerate towards a speed of 250. And they cleared us up to 8,000, so we can disregard the 4,000 or below restriction at 14 DME.
Aegean 107, direct Aegina, cleared for the ILS Zulu runway 03 left approach. Descend and maintain altitude 3,000 until established.
Okay, reaching speed 250.
242, climb flight level 170.
Climb flight level 170, reaching 242. Set, and 170 tracked, that's at cruise level, perfect. So next we'll need 115.0 over here, and that's going to be at 14 DME, we're at 16.5 right now. So let's put that TCAS to a slightly higher range, so that we can see a little bit more down here. So we're approaching 14 DME, as you can see over here and over here.
Departure,
and here we are, 14 DME.
Aegean 7 Romeo November radar contact. Climb and maintain 10,000.
And now we proceed direct Kilo Echo Alpha.
10,000, Aegean 7 Romeo November.
That's one of the things I really love about flying in Greece. You can fly so much raw data, it's really fun, isn't it? If you do have questions about that, by the way, then do let me know in the comments below, and I might as well just do another tutorial on this very SID that we have just flown, explaining everything that we would be doing over here. Okay, so let's align the track pointer with our inbound course like this, and here we go. So then we can just align our heading bug. Here we go, heading select and autopilot 1. So then let's have a look what our FMS says, how accurate we are. FMS calls us slightly off track, but that's not really a problem because The track that you're supposed to fly after here is not a defined radial, but as you can see, 14 degrees right-hand turn direct to the VOR. So it doesn't really matter that we're a little bit off the FMS track, since we are proceeding directly to the VOR. Alright, nonetheless, to make it smooth, let's go down here and go to the Lex page, enter direct Kilo Echo Alpha, execute, and LMAF. Alright, now we are following the FMS, and that's pretty much everything done. Okay, cool. So now, APU air off and engine bleeds on, engine anti-ice off. So the engine-driven generators are working and delivering proper power, shutting down the APU. Okay, and we're reaching the transition altitude, set standard. Standard cross-check passing, flight level 89 now. Check. Beautiful. So, let's see if we're able to negotiate any directs with our traffic control.
106, Victor 2000 for 4000.
How about we just ask for 1-0? We're flying so low, shouldn't be much of a problem.
Climb and maintain 12-1-2000.
Climb 12-1-2000, Ryanair 106, Victor.
Aegean 242, any chance to proceed direct 1-0? And passing 10,000.
Aegean 242, proceed direct, 0 approved.
Proceeding direct 0, Aegean 242, thank you. Okay, direct 0. So, lights are coming off. Let's see, up here, those are gonna stay on. Nothing up here, that's good. Okay, up here everything's set. That's looking good. So, can we release the passengers? I think we can. And here we go. Alright then, let me update that direct once again, just to be sure we've got the latest data in here. Execute. And then let's just quickly head over to the arrival charts and see what we've got down there. So, charts, airport, search, arrival. Here we go. So we're inbound 1-0. Shall we actually ask for deluxe? That would make our life even easier, wouldn't it?
Aegean 110, radar contact.
Yep.
Climb and maintain 5,000.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll ask for it. Aegean 242, any chance to proceed direct deluxe?
Aegean 242, proceed direct, Daylog approved.
Direct deluxe approved, Aegean 242, thank you. Alright. They're generous today. So, direct to deluxe, now we should also get an appropriate top-off descent at about 80 nautical miles out. And that's looking very good. Well done, my friends. I'd say with that, I see you all a little bit closer to our destination airport when we start our approach preparation.
Expect the Ernie 1 Charlie arrival. Descent in about 15 minutes.
Ernie 1 Charlie, descent in 15. Thank you, Aegean 242. Alright, we've started our descent and we can now start setting up for our arrival. Descending 4,000 to GN242. Set and 4,000 checked. So, first things first, we'll turn the fasten seatbelt sign on. After all, it was just a short cruise, but you know what that's about. So, remount to Deluxe, and we're expecting runway 09er in SAMOS. We will probably fly visual approach, so after Deluxe, probably somewhere direct along the coastline, and then across here onto the final approach. Now, the official approach starts out at 3,000 on the 357 bearing inbound to SAMOS, and the go-around 357 outbound until 3,000, then a right turn, max 185 knots back to the station. And yeah, that's honestly about everything there is to this. So let's go ahead and start with our actual arrival planning. That's going to be our speeds. So let's start down here on the reference speed. That's going to be 191. Actually 181, that way around. And our approach speed 123. Here we go. Okay. So with that said, things are going to be still interesting. Despite the slow approach speed, we will be using 5 knots addition, so 128 knots approach speed. Well, and then we'll have to see how that thing is gonna go. Now, let's see. We do, unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, not have any visual approach chart. Otherwise, things would have been easy. But basically, the approach is going to lead us across here, then straight towards the building that's somewhere over there, and then we turn final. We need a very good pilot monitoring on this one, because even though the landing is captain's only, it's of course going to be the pilot on the right-hand seat who's going to see most of the airport during the arrival. So very important role of the pilot monitoring today. Okay, let's make that descent a little bit steeper over here, because we can already see our destination over there. So I think the field is somewhere over here. And that over there is already Turkey, which we gotta make sure not to accidentally fly into. Alright, good. So then, let's commence the approach briefing, please. Visual approach into runway 9er at SAMOS. MSA, honestly, it's visual, and we can already see everything, so that's not really going to be much of a factor. Extra fuel is 20 minutes at the moment, or a second approach. Thereafter, we're going to be off southbound to Coles, and we've got no minimum since it's a visual approach. Alright, so we'll fly at raw data with auto throttle guidance until the final approach, then I'll take the throttles over manually, just in order to make it a little bit easier here with our route tracking and everything. Now, for the approach we are going to use flaps full. This airplane doesn't have reversers, but we will be using maximum manual braking to vacate the runway to the left-hand side. If we notice early that we're not going to make the exit, then I am just going to call it out, and then and only then we will just let the airplane roll all the way to the end, make a 180 in the turn pad, and that's it. In terms of specials on non-standards, well, it's SAMOS, so as a GN pilot we are of course fairly familiar. As A330 driver on the YouTube channel I've been here a few times only, so take everything slowly. We are going to slow the airplane down early so that we don't do anything fancy over here. No need to get into any mainstream media apart from this YouTube channel. So we will do things slowly and with care. Okay, do you have anything else for the arrival? The only one thing I got for the threats is the terrain, which we do already have in sight. Cool. So that's this part of the briefing completed. Then let's go for the system checks, please. So, engine air on, APU air off, packs on, APU off. Lights are on, flaps up. Landing gear up, TRP set, and altimeters are at 1018 cross-checked. Right, system checks complete, going through level 100. And then we've got the runway in sight. The GN242 runway in sight.
GN242 runway 9er assigned.
No. The GN242 requests the visual approach. Normally, that should have been the answer to the runway in sight. Clear visual approach.
A GN242 visual approach approved for runway 27.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, clear visual approach runway 09, the GN242. Did she say for runway 07, runway 27? If she did, no further comment on that. Alright, so let's set our course towards the airport. Fox Delta on top.
GN242, turn left, heading 325 vectors for the visual runway 9er approach.
No. The GN242 requests own navigation. Alright, and then we can start going down. What are throttles doing here?
A GN242, continue current navigation. Advise if vectors needed.
Sync rate.
Ooh, interesting. That came a little earlier than planned. The GN242, we are able for the visual approach now. That's one last try. If she doesn't respond, I'll just switch over to the tower frequency.
The GN242, turn left, heading 300 for the visual approach runway 27.
Yeah, no, thank you. Alright, so down to 1500. Then let's do vertical speed here, minus 2000, and we'll start. Well, the speed buck is a little fuzzy. Come on, give me speed 210. Thank you. Alright, and then we'll switch over to the tower 12985. SAMOS Tower at GN242 established on the visual runway 09.
A GN242, contact SAMOS Tower on 122.1.
122.1 at GN242. And I'm trying to fly one of the most complicated approaches here, and ATC is making it hard. SAMOS Tower at GN242, visual 09. Come on, heading 030.
A GN242 Samos Tower, say again your message.
A GN242 established on the visual approach runway 09. Can I say it in any more stupid way? Okay, so preparation for approach checklists. FMS checked, actual fuel on board is checked, landing data is set, landing flaps 33, pressurization set, briefing completed, preparation for approach checklist completed, and flaps 18. Speed checked, flaps 18. Okay, so there's the field, and here is where we are going to cross over.
Speed checked. Gear down.
Nope. Alright, so gear down, flaps 24. Man, what's going on with this beat bug? So, final approach speed will be 128, we'll just configure it completely now. Autopilot off, flight directors off. Okay, flaps 30. What is auto thrust doing? Why adding... Stupid. God. I'm trying to fly an airplane. Why does it feel like the entire world tries to prevent me from doing so today?
Speed checked. Flaps 33.
Okay, flaps 33. Now we need some thrust. Not any earlier. Vision 242 on the right base, runway 09.
Cabin crew, 360 to land.
Aegean 242, wind 350 at 14, runway 9er, cleared to land.
Runway 9, clear to land, Aegean 242.
Cabin is secured for arrival.
Alright, so... Toga is pre-selected in case we need it. Field is inside on the right hand side. And then we can start a shallow turn towards the runway. We're coming in right on the poppy, very good. Getting a little bit fast, correcting.
Caution! Taxiway!
No
Caution!
minimums.
Taxiway!
So, continue. I don't know, that poppy doesn't look entirely accurate to me.
100.
Air brakes out.
Alright.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Ground item. Spoilers yellow and green. Brake pressure checked.
Man, the plane barely reacts to my rudder input to get it back onto the center line here.
900 meters remaining. 600 remaining.
60
Aegean
meters.
242, welcome to SAMOS. Taxi to Terminal 2 at your discretion. Stay on this frequency.
Terminal 2 at our discretion, Aegean 242, thank you. Flight simming.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
In the
to
real world
SAMOS.
this is easier, I
We
can
hope
tell you
enjoyed
that
your
much.
flight with us today. Did you know that Samos is famous for its wine and is also the birthplace of the ancient philosopher Pythagoras? Thank you for flying with
On
Aegean
runway
Airlines.
09.
Please remain seated until we reach our final
0
flight position.
meters
In the name of
remaining.
Captain Emmanuel,
Ooh,
First Officer
interesting.
Stephanie, and the entire crew, we wish you a wonderful stay here. The local time in
On
Samos
runway
is 10:24 a.m.
27.
If you have a connecting flight, please
All right.
note the following. Flight Aegean 123.
So, here we are.
Departing at 11 o'clock a.m. from Gate 5, and Flight Aegean 4V6 to Rhodes, departing at 11:30 a.m. from Gate 7.
So that's that. Strobes going off, and obviously we should have been on the APU. If ATC hadn't trolled us on the arrival, then we would probably have noticed. That way, a pilot monitoring should have noticed. That way, at least we made it. Okay, so after landing checklist, gas block air brakes, set in, radar, off, APU on, and flaps 0 after landing checklist complete. Alright, good. Let's see if we can get some ground services, maybe. Main apron, stand number 8. No follow me needed. Handling by Aegean Airlines. Okay, so far so good. Then we'll vacate to the right hand side and taxi straight to our parking. Lights off. Okay, Marshal is in sight, and the right side is clear, the left side is clear. That was some awful marshalling. So, park and brake set, APU power is available. Okay, shut down. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Doors manual and crossback.
That's it. Alright, engine's coming down, and here we go. So let's see what I forgot. Parking checklist. Parking brake set, slides disarmed, transponder. Zone 2000 standby, hydraulics. We're off. Okay, generators off reset, air conditioning on, engine shutdown performed, fasten seatbelts off, external lights off, brake fans auto, fuel pumps 1 on for the APU, ignition is off, and ice protection, engine anti-ice on, rest off, and that's the parking checklist completed. So let's go for the deboarding, please. Request, and well, with that, here we are. So, thank you very much for flying along, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it as best as you could. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.